we pause for a second or two. This is episode 86, 250,000. Earlier this week, the Swedish government held a joint press conference with a representative of Microsoft. And in this press conference, the two parties announced that in the coming 2 years, a number of 250,000 Swedes in the Swedish workforce will be trained in Microsoft AI. And these people from the Swedish workforce will be selected from both public and private sector, as well as across many different areas of society and different markets. It will encompass schools, businesses, public sector, healthcare, administration. And this announcement came as a surprise to many Swedes. Many Swedes were not ready for an announcement of this magnitude and of this speed, this motion. $250,000 people from Swedish workforce equals 5% of the total workforce. There is approximately 5 million Swedes working, and 250,000 equals 5%. So 1 in every 20 working Swedes will be trained in Microsoft AI. 1 in every 20 working Swedes. The message, or one message, that was delivered at a number of times at both this press conference but also at an earlier press conference on the same topic, was that for Sweden, a relatively small country, it is important that we approach AI and roll out AI in a unified manner, in a unified way. It is important that we stand unified in AI. So the Swedish Prime Minister delivered that message at this press conference earlier this week. And the same message was delivered by the head of the Swedish AI Commission that was formed a couple of months ago. And he also said the same message. It's important that the Swedish society stands unified in this AI change. In today's episode of Pause, we pause for a second and recognize this change, recognize this motion. Universal skill motion is about this. It's about pausing and identifying and observing an emotion that is going on. What is moving and how fast is it moving? With how much force is it moving, and how unified is this motion? How widespread or how vast is this motion of change? And it remains to be seen how the 250,000 Swedish workers, how their Microsoft AI training will take shape, what consequences it will have. But we need to pause and observe this vast motion. When observing this motion, we notice a few things. One thing we notice is that I did some research and I could find no other example of a country here and now that is rolling out AI training to such a great extent. So 5% of the Swedish workforce is now being trained, or is now going to be trained, in Microsoft AI. And I couldn't find any other example of something similar. So as a people, the Swedish people will now take on some kind of emotional change from this. That 1 in 20 working Swedes will have a daily experience of AI. And that brings us to the second thing we can notice. It's not just that 1 in 20 Swedes will use AI in their daily work, but also that 1 in 20 Swedes will use one and the same AI, Microsoft AI. So 5% of the Swedish workforce will almost overnight start integrating their daily work with one company, Microsoft. So it is not AI in general that is being rolled out. It is specifically Microsoft AI. And this is also something that is worth noticing. A third thing that is worth noticing about this vast motion is that in Swedish media, leading up to this moment, the tone, the narrative, has been a lot about that AI is scary. That AI produces misinformation. That AI is untested. That AI produces scary and horrific pictures. That AI may be used to commit fraud, to impersonate people's voices, and that AI may be used for criminal purposes. So the framing of AI for the Swedish people leading up to this moment has been rather negative. And it creates a contrast that is worth noticing as well, that the narrative leading up to this week has been negative and quite a lot of fear in it. And now, quite to many people's surprise, this vast change, this vast motion is presented that 5% of Swedish working people are going to be trained in a specific AI, in Microsoft AI. And that it's important that we are unified in this change. It is very important that we are unified in this change. It was clearly stated and at multiple moments. A fourth aspect that is worth noticing is that the public discussion about integrity and surveillance has gone down remarkably. It's just not that much focus on integrity anymore. So there has been a strong shift now from individual integrity to the importance of a unified response using AI. And specifically Microsoft AI. A fifth thing that is worth noticing is that Swedish people in general are quite trusting, and that if you ask the common Swede, just pick a Swede at random, what kind of company Microsoft is and what business they do and what is their sort of their social commitment or their engagement throughout the world. Not many Swedes will know about this. The regular Swede knows about Bill Gates, of course. He's a very famous person. But beyond that, not much more. Swedes grew up with the Office package. Swedes grew up with Microsoft Word and using Excel for economics. Swedes are a very neat people, and many Swedes have enjoyed using Excel for organizing their economics, their finances. And that's about it. Swedes are not really follow the money kind of people. A sixth thing that is worth noticing is that the last time in Swedish history when the same narrative was rolled out, that it's important that we are unified, that we stand unified, it was in the 1950s, 1952, when the Swedish school system was unified. Before 1952, the Swedish school system was separated into two. One system for kids with of better means, and one system for kids of a more humble background. And then in 1952, they were unified. And at the same time, Sweden rolled out a duty of every child to go to school, that every child had to go to school. Mandatory. And when that motion happened in Sweden in 1952, it created waves throughout society, and the unification of the school system is something that Swedes talk about still. That it was very difficult getting used to it, because it was so revolutionary in a Swedish context. And this piece of change the 250,000 workers to be AI trained, Microsoft AI trained, bears some similarity to that change, in that it is rolled out quite suddenly, and it is presented in the same way, that we must stand unified now. We are a small country and we must stand unified. These are some initial things to notice, and we will follow how this change takes shape. That's it for today. Thank you.